Hey everyone, welcome. So today we're diving into Azure DevOps. And look, I don't want you to just think of it as another tool. We're going to treat it as the solution, a really powerful all-in-one answer to one of the biggest headaches in tech.
And that really brings us to the core question, right? Why is it so hard to build great software? I mean, you have this amazing idea, but getting it into an app that actually works for people, what's the big roadblock?
You know where it usually starts? With this one phrase. I guarantee every single developer has said it, and every single operations person has had their heart sink when they hear it. This one sentence, it just perfectly sums up all the chaos and the disconnect of the old way of doing things. It's the sound of teams not talking to each other, and environments being totally out of sync.
And yeah, that old world, it usually looked a lot like this. We call it the waterfall model, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Each team does their bit, and then they just kind of throw it over the wall to the next team in line. Requirements team finishes, throws it to design. Design's done, chuck it over to development. You get the picture. And every single one of those handoffs is just a massive opportunity for things to go wrong, for misunderstandings, for huge delays.
The fallout from this way of working is, well, it's painful. You've got your dev teams, your ops teams, your QA teams, and they might as well be on different planets. They barely talk. Pushing code live? It's this slow, manual, absolutely terrifying event that everyone dreads. And getting feedback? It could take weeks, even months. And you know what happens when something breaks? Which it always does. The finger pointing starts. It's the classic blame game, just totally inefficient and frustrating for everybody involved.
But what's so cool about the fix is that it's not really a tech problem. It's a people problem. It's a culture problem. The solution is moving from those siloed teams to real, actual collaboration. It's about ditching the slow, manual stuff and embracing automation everywhere you possibly can. It's a complete shift in how we think about getting good stuff out to our users.
So what is DevOps then? I mean, at its core, it's all about that cultural shift. Yeah, there are practices and tools that help, for sure. But really, it all boils down to one thing: tearing down the walls between dev and ops. It's about making everyone feel like they own the whole process, and then using automation to ship better software way faster.
And the engine that makes this whole DevOps culture go? That's CI/CD. Continuous integration, or CI, is just the practice of developers merging their code changes into one central place, and doing it all the time. Then, continuous delivery, or CD, picks it up from there. It automatically builds the code, runs tests, and gets it all packed up and ready for release. Think of it like a super efficient, automated assembly line for your software.
Okay, so philosophy is great, but how do you actually do it, right? Well, that's where Azure DevOps steps in. It's not just one thing. It's a whole toolkit of 5 core services that are all stitched together into one platform to handle the entire software lifecycle, from start to finish.
First up, every project has to start with a plan. And in Azure DevOps, that happens in Azure Boards. This isn't just some glorified to-do list. It's the command center for all the work that needs to get done.
Inside Boards, you can take these huge, ambitious ideas, we call them epics, and break them all the way down into bite-sized user stories that a developer can actually work on. And you visualize all of this on these things called Kanban boards. It's awesome. The whole team can see every single task move from the to-do column all the way to done. It gives you total transparency. No more guessing games about what's important or who's supposed to be doing what.
All right, so once the work is all laid out in boards, it's time for developers to make it real. That happens in Azure Repos. This is the secure, central library for every single line of code in your project.
So it's all built on Git, which is the gold standard for version control. This means developers can work on new features safely in their own little sandbox using something called branches. But the real magic, the real game changer here is the pull request. Think of it as a formal checkpoint. Before your code can get merged into the main project, it has to be reviewed by your teammates, it gets discussed, and this is key, it gets automatically tested. It's like having a built-in quality control system powered by your own team.
Now we get to the engine room, Azure Pipelines. This is where the code from repos gets automatically transformed into a real, working application. This is the beating heart of CI/CD. The second some new code gets the green light in repos, a pipeline just kicks into gear automatically. It grabs the code, compiles it, runs a whole bunch of automated tests, and packages everything up. And you define this whole dance in simple text files called YAML. That's huge, because it means your build process itself is now code. It's versioned, it's repeatable. And from there, you can ship your app literally anywhere, any cloud, any OS, you name it.
Of course, going fast is useless if you're shipping broken stuff. That's where Azure Test Plans comes in. It's all about making sure quality is part of the process from day one, not an afterthought.
And this is not just about checking off a list of tests. No way. This is for deep, exploratory testing where you're really trying to find those weird, unexpected bugs. At the same time, you can plug all your automated tests right into the pipeline. What does that mean? It means every single code change gets validated automatically. You're catching problems way before they ever get near a user. And the best part? A test case here can be linked straight back to the original user story in Boards. You get this perfect, unbroken chain of traceability. And last but not least, smart teams don't waste time rebuilding the same thing over and over. That's what Azure Artifacts is for. Think of it as your team's private warehouse for all your reusable software parts.
So teams can publish their reusable code, things like web packages from NPM or .NET packages from NuGet, into this private, secure library. And this is awesome because now another team or even another project can just pull that component in with a single line of code. This speeds up development like you wouldn't believe, and it makes sure everyone is building with the same approved, high-quality parts.
Okay, we've seen all the different pieces of the puzzle. Now, let's connect them and see what it looks like when a single line of code makes the journey from a developer's keyboard all the way to a live deployment.
Let's just walk through this. So, step 1, a developer pushes a code change to repos. Bam! Instantly. Step 2, a trigger in pipelines sees that change and fires up the whole process. Then, in step 3, the pipeline builds the code, and this is really important, it packages it all up into what's called a Docker container. The easiest way to think about this is like a standardized shipping box for software. Everything it needs is inside. That box then gets pushed to a secure registry in step 4. Now it's a reliable, ready-to-go component. And the crazy part? This whole thing can happen in minutes with nobody lifting a finger.
That level of automation is amazing, but things are always getting better. Let's talk about an even more modern way to handle deployments that's really taking off, and it's called GitOps.
Okay, so the main idea behind GitOps is actually pretty simple, but it's totally revolutionary. Your Git repository stops being just for your application code. Now, it also holds the blueprint, the configuration for your entire system. Then you have this little automated agent running inside your production environment, say in your Kubernetes cluster. And its only job is to watch that Git repo. The moment it sees a change in that blueprint, it pulls that change in so that the live system always matches what's defined in Git.
And this pull way of doing things has some massive advantages. See, in the old push model, your pipeline needs the keys to the kingdom, right? It needs credentials to push changes into production, which is a big security no-no. With GitOps, those credentials never leave the production cluster. The single source of truth isn't some pipeline log file, it's your Git history. And rolling back a bad deployment? Oh, it's beautiful. You just revert a commit in Git. It's that simple, and it's completely traceable.
So when you put it all together, Azure DevOps gives you this single, unified system to take an idea from a simple card on a board, turn it into code, run it through an automated pipeline, and get it out into the world with a modern, super reliable deployment. It just smashes the walls between teams and automates the whole delivery process. But that leads to a really interesting new question, doesn't it? When the tech makes it so easy and fast to build and deploy, where does the next bottleneck show up? What's the next big problem we have to solve? Definitely something to chew on.